하겠네요. 열심히 잘 했으면 좋겠고 살아남아 봅시다.
으로 변질되는 것에 마음이 많이 속상했어요.
Blackswan is currently dealing with some trouble between Fatu and Leia.
They not like us. They not like us. They not like us.
Hello guys, welcome back to another video, and today I will be just giving my opinion on the Apple TV doc and just be explaining some things throughout. I will only be covering Blackswan. To be honest, I definitely skipped through Jessie's story for many reasons, no offensive. The only thing that I can say is how funny it is how quickly her little New York accent goes away. Anyways, the other group featured seemed like a okay group, and I think as a whole the series is worth watching. I would like to use a lot of the series clips, but I don't know if I would get copyrighted or not, so I'll try to add some here and there. They started to follow Young Hyun, Judy, Fatu and Leia in their first trip to Brussels, where of course, we see an insight of the whole conflict that happened. But firstly, we learn that Fatu was recruited through Dr. Music, original CEO that knew the CEO of Fatu's modeling company in Korea at the time. If you don't know, she was also recruited by her modeling company, which caused her to stay in Korea. At this time, Dr. Music knew they wanted to do a global group centering different women with different nationalities, but they didn't know where to start, which in my own opinion, they picked Fatu because she was black, spoke Korean, and not only had visuals and modeling experiences, but also dancing and vocals. Dr. Music did something similar in the past to Alex. I don't remember the full story, but they heard her rap and asked Alex if she wanted to be a rapper in their K-pop girl group Ronnie BP. They did not bother to give her proper training when it came to previous choreographies or Korean language skills, and completely treated Alex as a form of walk-off entertainment that would perform her lines and then stand at the corner of the stage without any inclusion to the dance. So I'm not surprised they would have picked Fatu with the idea in mind of creating a global group. Fatu by herself had practiced and made videos of her dancing throughout the years, and had already been learning Korean. Dr. Music recruited her, but for Leia it was the opposite. The reason Dr. Music picked Leia was because she was a Brazilian Japanese girl that could speak Korean. They thought her visuals were unique.
The video that she sent, frankly, her vocal and dance was not good. But at the time she was good at speaking Korean, and she was mixed with Brazilian and Japanese, so she has very unique visuals.
They wanted a Brazilian girl because Brazil was one of the main consumers of K-pop. They did not pick her because she was talented or stood out to them. They picked her because they were desperate after the repeated failures of their company. Leia, after finding out through a friend that was some type of translator that Dr. Music was looking for a Brazilian girl, Leia would send videos of her dancing and singing repeatedly, and even in their desperation, they only took her in after 6 months. The original CEO said Dr. Music was a family company, and when asked about passing down the company to his son, a face we've seen multiple times before, the original CEO said there was still problems, mostly in their management, and at that time could not be passed down just yet. I'm going to be referring the original CEO as Papa CEO for now on. Whenever I just say CEO of Dr. Music, I'll be referring to this guy. Now back to the video. That's when the conflict was addressed. In what we were given in the first and second episode after the Brussels performance, the whole team counting the members, CEO and management, I believe, went back to Fatu's mother's house because Fatu's mother invited them to cook for everyone. During this period, Fatu and Fatu's mother was catching and getting emotion, and soon Leia included herself in it. We also see Leia kinda include herself when Fatu is trying get to her mother to hug her. Leia hugs her the longest, not reading the mood. This scene kinda bothered me as well. It seemed so uncomfortable in my eyes, as she tries to say Fatu's mother is proud of Fatu and not the other girls.
Yang kedua, You are so proud.
I am proud of Fatu.
No, yes, of your daughter.
While they were at Fatu's mother's house, she expressed wanting to leave and got irritated, so she went to the bathroom, and while she was in there, she posted on her close friends.
Suddenly she said, "Oh, I just want to go home." Yolanda and Judy were like, but her mom just made all these amazing food, dessert. Let's just be here for longer.
I was really sad. I stayed 2 hours in the bathroom crying, and I posted on my Instagram, and Fatu saw that.
Afterwards, Fatu and the other members didn't really communicate with Leia when it got back to Korea. They was giving her the silent treatment whenever they didn't need to speak with her, but there was no form of bullying. They did not make fun of her, or mock her, or say bad things. They just distanced themselves from her, and it made Leia irritated, so she went to her mother about it, saying Fatu was bullying her. Leia had already had a bad habit of telling her mother's business that wasn't meant to be shared. She herself said she tells everything to her mother. Her mother contacted the fan base, stating if the company wasn't going to do anything about it, she was going to. Leia and her mother took it a public space, which caused Fatu to release her statement on Twitter as well. I'll give my own opinion on this in a minute. But afterwards, before the statement was released with all the members apologized, Leia was sent to a mental hospital because she was so unwell. Now, why wasn't she given treatment before this? If she was so unwell, she needed to be sent to a hospital for her depression. She stated that she would just wake up crying in the mornings and how it slowly became worse. If it was really this bad, Leia, why didn't you get help beforehand? Now, I'm not trying to make it seem like she doesn't have a mental illness or depression is this easily treatable thing. It isn't. But clearly she's had problems before. Clearly her mental health has been eating away at her for some time, and it could have been easily solved if she got help sooner instead of blowing up on Fatu's mother and disrespecting not only her mother, but also the group's name and members. When Leia's mother gave not even fuel but a mental loaded gun to a fan base that took this and ran with it. I made a joke on my TikTok few years ago how it said on Leia's fan page K-pop profile that she loves attention, and I feel like even then now it still applies. If her mental health was really so bad, wouldn't she have told her mother? I thought you told everything to your mother, Leia. What happened? If it was really this bad where she needed mental health treatment and she was fighting it for so long, wouldn't have her mother said something sooner? If Leia would have went to the company sooner about her mental health and feelings, she wouldn't have had to go to her mother about it. If Leia would have sat down with the members and explained her outburst and disrespectful behavior, they wouldn't have been avoiding having a conversation with her. Papa CEO explained earlier in the episode that you can't control, should I say, non-Korean idols because of their cultural differences make them express themselves differently. When you tell Korean idols don't fight, they don't fight and imply that wouldn't work because of the cultural differences between Fatu and Leia, which I strongly disagree with. If Papa CEO looked at Fatu and Leia as not two foreign girls, but as just female K-pop idols or as two co-workers, I feel like there would be a better understanding between the group members and the company. Just because Fatu and Leia wasn't raised in the social structure of Korea doesn't mean they don't have complex social systems of their own that allow to avoid conflict and violence between people that they work with. I'm 100% sure that it isn't normal for Brazilian workers to say they're getting bullied by their co-workers and having their mother text representatives of that company or so say reporters or whatnot to spread misinformation, produce racist hate trains, and so more. This wasn't a cultural difference. This was you as a company letting your foreign members get away with more things you would a Korean idol because you didn't, in my own opinion, think it worth it enough to bring insight on your Korean society structure, or think they had their own society structure, which lead to you babying Leia with this behavior. This conflict had nothing to do with cultural backgrounds, but of mental health problems that clearly had years to shape itself within your members' head to the point they completely disregarded the emotions of your other members and their families, making your member want to jump off from their apartment. But the only thing you think to do is blame their cultural backgrounds for one woman being mentally ill and the other defending herself and avoiding the problem while you ignored it for days. Reading the script you handcrafted because you wasn't worried about Fatu or Leia's mental health, but of the last group you wanted to be successful after all your failures as a company to not dig themselves a deeper hole you already made from giving them that goddamn half-ass Goodbye Rania album. Sorry, I have big beef with their first album. This is what pisses me off the most because so many people was saying, oh, look at Leia and Fatu. They are friends again after making promotions videos. But Papa CEO himself said they was going to be looked at way more now because of the situation and needed to basically keep up an appearance. Leia has no remorse for what she said and did either.
Today in the live, I was supposed to say don't have bullying, but I didn't say that.
She herself said she skipped over the part in the script where it said we have no bullying and looked like she wanted to laugh during Fatu's speech herself. Leia herself said she didn't want to be in the group before the live stream, and even afterwards she made it very difficult for the members to keep on being a part of the group and honestly got in the way of a new comeback because Leia didn't want to be involved in the practice. But as I said in other videos about Fatu and Leia's relationship at this time was only business. Fatu stated herself she didn't want any personal relationships with her, and I honestly don't blame her at this time. The only reason why Leia was still even in the group at this time was because of her contract. She could not just walk away and say peace out to everyone, but instead of making it easier for the members, she decided to be difficult and a brat. As Younghoon, the former leader, stated, it's hard to work with someone who doesn't want to be a part of the team. People always try to baby Leia in this situation but fail to realize the situation she put herself in. But let's continue. It was later revealed that the reasons for adding Shreya and Gabi, just like with Leia, is because of their nationalities. Gabi is from Brazil, which is a big consumer of K-pop again. And they said they picked Shreya because she's from India and it's a large place with a lot of people.
일단 블랙산으로 이제 멤버로 들어오게 되면 아무래도 실력이 좀 되어 있는 친구가 있으면 저희도 좋지 않을까요?
I had somewhat guessed this, and I think I talked about this before, about foreign influence and all that good jazz. I don't want to be mean, but if you wasn't looking through rose-colored glasses, you would see the attempted money-making scheme they was plotting by bringing in non-Korean and non-Asian women. That also makes me think though, if Papa CEO thought that cultural differences couldn't be tamed by Korean culture and society and would cause conflicts, then why didn't he have a solution for this sooner? I don't want to say he's dehumanizing them by thinking this way. I think that's a little too extreme, but at the same time I just don't understand how you can work with these women, eat, practice, and coach these women and think that this conflict was caused by cultural backgrounds. I wonder if it's just ignorance or stupidity. I wonder how things would have been treated if this would have happened between Judy and Younghoon, the two Korean women that was in the group at the time. Anyways, at this point Shreya and Gabi have been training for 5 months and their final selection will be happening in a few weeks. The CEO notes that they spend a short time sharpening the girls' skills compared to other companies who usually have trainees for a couple of years.
가비는 데뷔를 할 수 있는 실력은 몇 년은 더 해야 되는데 라고 솔직하게 회사분들한테도 말씀을 드렸었거든요. 그렇게 해야 이제 무대에 섰을 때 좋은 피드백을 받을 수 있고 솔직히 너무 급하다. 너무 급하게 하는 것 같다. 나는 그동안 이만큼 그냥 고생해서 경험해보는 줄 알고 오히려 되게 운이 좋다.
The CEO also kinda planned on having a comeback for months or sooner after their Shreya and Gabi debut, but of course, as we know, things don't go that way. The CEO also mentions the cons of training for only a few months because 6 months isn't enough to see if they have the personalities and physical mindset to become a K-pop idol. This time wasn't easy for Shreya and Gabi either. They was put under intense pressures and diets. Gabi was tasked with losing weight and Shreya actually needed to gain weight. But Shreya said she would throw up a lot because of this. Shreya and Gabi were training with the lineup at the time: Younghoon, Judy, Fatu, and Leia during this period. Judy, Younghoon, and Fatu all said. Fatu also mentioned how much time and effort it would take having new members.
In Shreya, they have a long way to go, but we are using tends to pick trainees or members way quicker than other entertainment companies. Like, I can kind of understand it because the CEO, Mr. Yu, has been doing this for over 20 years, so he sees it when someone has the thing you need to be able to do this. But at the other side, his goal was always to make like a global group. Sometimes I feel like, is he just picking that person because she's from that country? If we were to pick a member just because she's from a different country, that'd be pretty bad.
Fatu was a trainee for a year before debuting in Blackswan. Younghoon was a trainee for many years, going to arts high school and didn't join DR Music until she was 25. Judy was a part of a dance group in high school with choreography knowledge, which ended up getting her into Blackswan without a trainee period. Leia was also a trainee for multiple years. Like I mentioned in the past, DR Music was training Shreya and Gabi for Younghoon and Judy parts, but in the series we see them working together as a whole group, even with Leia. In their final selection, where this will be their ticket and we're out of Blackswan, they are dancing Judy and Younghoon parts. I strongly believe, in my opinion, they was trying to fill in the missing gaps of their global-ness at this point and wanted to rely on Judy and Younghoon until Gabi and Shreya was ready to surpass them. But I think what's one of the most beautiful things about Gabi and Shreya relationship is how attached they got to one another. They was more so worried about taking away each other's chances of becoming an idol and separating themselves after sending months training, sleeping, and doing everything together. Instead of worrying about themselves to try and beat each other, they decided to work together as a team. The reasons for picking both of the members wasn't because of their closeness though. Of course, Shreya checked a lot of boxes. We all know Shreya was the more likely candidate, but Gabi proved her strong willingness through her actions of never giving up even when she had a harder time picking up things. Leia's mood swings became an even bigger issue later on into the series, mostly after the trainees joined. The way Leia worded her sentences to make not only the people watching but also her mother to feel bad for her is really crazy to see in real time.
Yesterday I have a talk with the manager, and I say it's like I don't want to go to the practice, but I was forced kind of.
레아 상태가 어느 정도였냐면은 왜 나는 연습을 안 시켜? 왜 나한테는 해주곡을 안 들려줘? 빨리 나한테도 연습할 수 있는 시간을 줘. 강력하게 매니저들과 저한테 요구를 해놓고 그 이튿날 되면은 나는 하기 싫어. 정반대의 행동을 계속 많이 했거든요. 그런데 강제적으로 혼내가면서 애를 갖다 시킬 수는 없는 거고.
As Papa CEO stated, one day she was being demanding to the management, asking for all types of requests and demands, but then the next day she didn't want to do anything at all. She said it felt like being in a prison because they was forcing her to practice, but she was the one that couldn't decide whether she wanted to be a member or not. DR Music never forced her to do or say anything, and in DR Music's contract with their members it states they would provide them mental health treatment if needed. So again, if Leia mental health was really that bad, where she was complaining to her mother, crying every single morning and so on, why didn't she complain to them sooner about it, knowing they would offer her mental health treatment? Why go back and forth with them regarding practice and being an active member when you were in a so-called prison? This is why I completely blame Leia for what happened to Fatu, because of the way she's expressing to her mother. Oh, I haven't eaten, I'm on a diet, oh, I really wish I had a coffee. I have to go to practice, in such a pitiful tone to her mother, and I'm 100% sure when she contacted her mother stating she was getting bullied by Fatu that she did the exact same thing. Leia also states, I'm drugged right now because of all the mental health medicine she needed to take. She was taking 10 medications per day, her mental health so bad, mostly for anxiety and sleep. She also stated multiple times to the camera and members that I can't cry or I can't feel anything because of all the medicine I am on, trying to make people feel bad for her because of her mental health, using her mental health to play the victim and for people to pity her. The only reason Dr. Music was keeping her at this point was because they were hoping she would return to the person she was before when she first came to Korea. Because again, Dr. Music and Papa CEO will do anything to make their successful global group work out. They even looked past Leia basically breaching the contract multiple times. Leia had of course a history to this point of skipping and sitting out of practice, but she was also meeting men. By the end of the series, she had a boyfriend still under DR Music contract, and as we all know, when she returned back to Brazil, she was seen dancing at clubs. Fatu even agreed it was weird of DR Music to still keep Leia if she's vocally expressing not wanting to be here and showing it through her actions. I think it's ironic this year she is making the do's and don'ts and being a K-pop idol, and the two she listed was no dating and no drinking.
Que a mais comentada, eu acho que todo mundo sabe, é que não pode namorar. Não pode. A segunda coisa, que eu acho que tem gente que também sabe, é que quando você é trainee, você não pode beber. Não pode ser visto com bebida, principalmente se você for menor de idade. Fica muito
while she was seeing men and had a boyfriend at the end of the series, so we can mostly assume she has hopefully the same man, and she was seen dancing at clubs when she needed to take a mental health break, or so they claimed. Young-hoon and Judy soon left, and Papa CEO basically explained they created a graduation system in their company because people always brought up their members always leaving in their groups and previous groups, using it as an excuse of why they left. Young-hoon and Judy left before the conflict was never dealt with properly, making working with Blackswan uncomfortable and stressful. A month after leaving, Young-hoon and Judy both had no plans on going back into the entertainment business or becoming K-pop idols. Judy said she would even go for a completely different career path. In episode 5, Fatu says Leia apologized to her and she accepted it because it sounded sincere, and by the end of the day, she wanted to be the bigger person. In my opinion, I wanted to add clips, but this video is already too long. Lol. The image of Blackswan got ruined by the scandal because Blackswan was seen as one big family in Fatu's eyes, which caused her to forgive Leia for the sack of the group, but she also said she did it for herself. She didn't want to hold a bunch of hate in her heart. Leia said she didn't want hate in her heart and didn't want to be hated, that Fatu was a good friend of her. They both expressed being really tired by the situation. I found it really weird how she was saying, oh well, I did bad. But Fatu does bad too, completely regarding the actual issue here and Fatu's feelings. I really wasn't going to comment how backhanded her statements sounded to me until she decided to badmouth Young-hoon. And I was going to add a clip, but this video is long. But Leia was going against even giving them some type of closure after Fatu forgave her. It is what it is. Her exact words. In my opinion, she just gave Fatu an apology to try and move past this situation. But her carefree and selfish attitude was still full force at this point. Papa CEO blamed Young-hoon for not breaking up the conflict because she was the leader. Honestly, that's so backhanded and selfish for them to pin it all on one person just because she has the title of leader. It's the company's responsibility that all members are getting treated properly and mental health isn't consuming their members. Papa CEO even said he had no problem with getting rid of the Korean members because, again, his main goal, his main purpose for starting Blackswan and working through this conflict was to make a global K-pop group. That's the reason for adding young, barely getting by trainees to the group with only 6 months of experience. That's the reason for glossing over the situation. That's the reason for letting go of their Korean members as soon as expressing wanting to leave, rather than letting Leia leave after expressing she did not want to be a part of Blackswan since their first trip to Belgium. At least the Korean members did their part in the group up until they left. He did not care about the Korean women in his group. In my opinion, he thought of them as stepping stones to the group he envisioned since debuting the original lineup. Leia also even took the chance to try and pin the members against Young-hoon and Judy. I swear the more I watch, the more madder I get because Young-hoon and Judy did not leave because non-Koreans and non-Asians started entering into Blackswan. They left because Leia couldn't get a damn mental health check and couldn't just properly handle a petty-ass situation by showing up to damn practice and apologizing. Leia in every other clip is talking about how she's in a prison and wants to leave, but then said didn't want to leave the members because she felt bad. Leia, you really need to get your story straight here. Do you want to be a lazy bum or the hero? Karma was made when Leia was still being active in the group, and Navi lines would have been sung by Leia. Well, if active is the right word, more so just a background character deciding when they wanted to join the group. Because of her beefing with the company and her daily mood swings, it made it difficult to work with her and caused a lot of problems with the staff, members, and management. During Blackswan's second performance in Brussels, Belgium with the lineup Leia, Gabi, Shreya, and Fatu, throughout their practices they were having earpiece issues, mostly with Shreya and Gabi. After the performance, Fatu mentioned the comeback would be ready in November or December, which again we know that wasn't going to happen. But Leia was already planning on not including herself in the comeback because she still had beef with the company. Instead of flat out saying she wanted to leave after Belgium, the second go around, she started repeating her old habits by skipping out on practice and lying as of why she was doing this. And soon they sent her back to Brazil. Leia's contract ends in 2024. While Leia was dating, hanging out with friends, dancing at clubs, the members had to pick up after her. But luckily they found a beautiful and better replacement for her. Navi, I feel like was an angel sent down to just really shape Blackswan. Fatu noted how easy it was for her to pick up things, Younghoon and Judy will stop hold a place in my heart, but this lineup is definitely the best Blackswan has, and hopefully there is no more errors. That is it for today's video. I want to thank my subscribes for helping me pick out a title for this YouTube video and continuing to bring attention on my community tab. Please like, subscribe, and comment for more Blackswan videos.